Gathering information is important to any SEO campaign. If you skip this step, your SEO efforts can and will fail. On the other hand, you must do something with this information once you collect it, and this is where experience pays off. The best SEO experts will take the time to review what is between the lines in this information. You will be reviewing this information in the hopes of identifying needs that are not currently being met, which in turn will create the most opportunity and chance for success. In summary, remember, develop a system. Once you have your system down, then you can train others to take over a portion of the project. Without a systematic approach, again, the chances of your project proceeding are pretty slim. So let's take a look at a couple of the different things that you can systemize. We'll begin by developing a systematic approach to identifying problem statements. Remembering that you're offering SEO services as a method of developing revenue for a web-based business, you must be able to communicate a value of your services to your prospective clients. The best way to accomplish this is by using a well-defined plan that begins with market research. With that data in hand, you can then make assessments to include project scope, duration, and appropriate fees. Likewise, you will appear more professional to your clients if you can provide a standardized method for pursuing and obtaining their goals. Remember, relate the benefits of this data and not the features to your client. This area is one area where you can develop your own competitive advantage over other SEO consulting firms. Here, let me give you some further explanation. Most SEO consultants can be compared to programming geeks. They concentrate only on what the search engine sees. Their success rates are almost always measured in percentages gained or lost as compared to a benchmark test. They could care less about the success or failure of the client's project and instead only concentrate on what they were hired to perform. Thus, their ability to negotiate long-term contracts with performance-based compensation is limited. In other words, most SEO consultants will analyze a site for metadata, make some recommendations, implement those recommendations, they'll collect a check, and then they disappear. They fail to realize that SEO is a process that requires daily, weekly, monthly, and even annual assessments and modifications. So remember, develop a systematic approach to identifying exactly what problems your client and his market are experiencing. Then we can start developing a systematic approach to competitive research. Discovering what problems people are searching for is only part of the total equation. You must also examine who is already offering solutions, how they are offering those solutions, and what success they are receiving. This information compiled with the problem statements will actually catapult your efforts light years ahead of your competition and will position your service as a premier service. Don't forget, it always begins with research. But how will you use this information to the greater benefit of your project? Well, you got to remember, raw data is just that, raw data. It has no meaning until you can manipulate that data and relate that data to a specific problem. For example, if a prospective client has already launched a website but is not getting any traffic, the basic questions are why and how can I get more traffic? Your job as an SEO consultant is to answer these two questions and provide a plan that will solve these issues. You can't do this if you haven't developed your research. Assuming that you have developed this research, you must now communicate the results to your client. I always use this report as a major milestone, one that is compensable. Here is why. If the data doesn't support moving forward with a project, you certainly want to be paid for your time already invested. Otherwise, you just wasted a lot of time and money on a project that didn't generate any revenue. Second, you should plan to bring the books even at this milestone and then use this milestone as an advancement ahead. In other words, you perform the initial research taking 100% of the risk. That's a selling point for you. From this point forward, it becomes incumbent upon your client to share in the risk. Here's why. Just as there are things that you do or do not do that will affect the outcome of this project, there will be things that your client must accomplish too that will also have an impact. So I'll always require that a complete project assessment occur at this milestone and that the remaining cost of the project be funded 100% up front. Escrow is acceptable as a means of protection. Just remember, the idea is to clearly annotate benchmarks, milestones, and methods of measurement going forward so that there is no question as to when the project ends and when you should be paid. Our next lesson is going to actually start establishing a system for basic problem statement and competition research. And we'll look at some basic reporting standards as well as some identification and implementation of SEO tactics using actual meta tags, content, and design. Thank you, and remember that if you need to get a hold of me, I